First, we have to clarify something. This is not computer game. This is based on a technique called divide and conquer. In computer science, divide and conquer will recursively divide the problem into much smaller problems so they can be solved directly and much faster. Okay, so we have a list of 100 numbers. We will pick the number in the middle of the list and get its index. And if the user clicked D, which means that the guess is lower, we will split this list into two lists. Each one contains 50 numbers. So if the guess is lower, we will pick the part from 51 to 100. And then we will pick a number at the center of the list. We will calculate its index again. If the user entered D again, then we'll split this list into two and again pick the numbers starting from 76 up to 100. And then we will pick a number at the center of the list. We will calculate its index again. If the user, on the other hand, picked U, we will choose the other part. We will pick a number at the center of the list, its index, and so on. But if the user at the first choice choose U, which means that our guess is higher than the number the user picked, we will choose a part of the list that contains the number from 1 to 50, and then we will pick a number at the center of the list. We will calculate its index again, and again ask the user. If the user pressed D, which the guess is lower, I'll divide this list into two lists. I'll pick the numbers from 26 to 51, choose a number at the center of the list, calculate its index. But if the user typed U, which means that our number is higher, we will choose the other part of the list that contains the numbers from 1 to 25, pick a number at the center of the list, pick a number at the center of the list, calculate its index, and so on. So let's try to create the script. I'll right click on the top level folder, create a new Python file, and I'll name it guess. We have to inform the user with what we want him to do, and this is a lengthy message that should be displayed to the user. To do this, we will use the print function. To print a multi-line, we can use single quote or double quote, but we will type 3 double quotes and then our message between. So we'll type, please pick a number between 1 and 100, and I will guess that number sounds cool. Let's get started. You only will enter one of the following keys. U, if my guess is higher than your number. Let's copy and paste this, and in here we will change it to D. If my guess is lower, C, if my guess is correct, and Q to quit. Okay. We have typed the opening statement for the script. So let's start by creating our list. I'll define variable called numbers, which will be a range of 1 to 101. As we mentioned earlier, range will return a list between the initial number, the final number. 101 will not be included, but 100 will be included. Okay. Now we will need to iterate through this list in order to divide it and to provide our guessing. To do this, we can use either for loop or while loop. But since we don't know how many iterations we will use, while loop will be much more convenient. So I'll type while true. To exit the loop, it will be based on the user input. The input function will be inside the loop. So we'll put while true, and then we will have to break from the loop by using break statement inside an if condition. Now we have the numbers list. We will have our guess. Guess will, in the first time, will be at the center of the list. So to get the center of the list, it will be numbers of len of numbers divided 2. But this len of numbers divided 2 will result in a float, and we cannot have index as a float. So we can either convert it to integer or do an integer division, which will give us 51, which is the number at the center of the list. Great. Now we will type this number to the user. So we will print formatted string my guess is, and then we will type guess. Is this correct? We will take the user answer in a variable called key, which will be input. Please enter an option. Okay. Now we have the user input. So let's also define a variable called index, which will get the index of guess in the list. So how to get the index of a number in a list? We will use numbers dot index of guess. So let's try this out in the command prompt. Let's type numbers dot index of 51. This will give us 50, which is correct. This is the number in the center of the list. Okay. So now the user have entered a key, and based on that key, we will choose which segment of the list we will use. So if key equals D, which means that the guess is lower than the user number, so we will assign numbers to the higher segment in numbers. How to do this? We will pick numbers from the index, which is at the center, to the end of numbers. We have seen this before, right? If we try it in here, if we type numbers of 50 will give us the numbers from 51 to 101. If we pick the other part, which is from the beginning to 50, it will give us range of 1 or the numbers from 1 to 51. Okay, else if key equals to u, this means that the guess is higher than the user numbers, so we will pick the lower part in the list. Numbers will equal to numbers of from the beginning to the index. Okay, else if key equals C, then we will just print cool. I knew it. And then we will have to break from the loop, otherwise it will continue work. If the key is not one of these values, so must be quit. But I'll use again else if, because what if the user had entered something else? So I'll print, okay, I understand you are busy. Now, hope to see you soon. Okay. And then again break. So if the user typed Q, he will be able to break out of the loop. Else any other key we will print. Please select one of the above options. We have to take in mind that the user might input anything. And so we have to prepare our code for that. Okay. I think the script is ready. So let's put a breakpoint in the first statement and start debugging the script. Okay. Numbers have been assigned a range. Okay. Guess is 51. This is correct. We have printed the message on the console. Let's check it in here. We have printed the rules in the console, and then the computer guess is 51. Is this correct? Let's say that we will pick 19. Okay, so the computer guess is 51, and this is higher, so I'll choose U. Okay. The first if statement, the condition is not true, so we will go to the U. Since the guess number is higher than what the users picked, we will choose the lower portion of the list. So let's check the debugger. Numbers now are the range from 1 to 51. Okay. So again, we will pick a number in the middle of the new numbers list. It will be 26. Okay. And we will print it to the user. Remember, we have picked 19. And then we will ask the user for an input. This is still higher, so we will choose U. We calculated the index. The index is 25, since it's at the center of 50 numbers from 1 to 50. We will go to the U. We will pick the lower part. Numbers have the numbers from 1 to 51. Okay. So we have divided into 2. We will pick the lower part of the numbers. So numbers are now having 25 numbers containing the numbers from 1 to 26. Our guess is 13. This is lower than our number, so we will choose D. So we will pick the upper part, which are the numbers from 13 to 26. This one, you got it right. So his guess is correct. We will type C. C will print cool I knew it and then break. This is very nice. Okay, this is nice. So let's run it again. And in here, I'll choose an A. I'll type A. A is not in the list of keys that the user should enter, so it had prompted him again to choose one of the options. If I type X, for example, again, it will display the same message. If I type Q, it will quit. Okay. This will conclude our lecture. Thank you for watching and join me in the next lecture.